I'd like to call to the order the Committee of the Whole meeting for May 25th, 2026. First order of business is the disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. It can be declared now or any time during the meeting. Seeing none, we'll move to our delegation. Detachment Commander Inspector Jim Mills and Sergeant Derek McLean, 2025 Annual Ontario Provincial Police Report. So the floor is yours, Phyllis. And I spoke with the guys, and if there's any questions as it's going on, you can raise your hand and ask. There's a lot of information, so we don't want things to get buried farther down and lose track of where we are. So we'll try to stay on track, but if you do have a question, feel free to put your hand up. And I'll leave it to you guys.
Okay, so thank you very much. So we really appreciate coming in this evening to provide a report on an overview of policing services in Atikokan. It's also an opportunity for us to elicit feedback from some policing priorities, what Atikokan would like to see as well. So I'm just going to start off with an overview of our billable calls for service in Atikokan in 2025. So there was 730 billable calls for service in Atikokan. This was down considerably from 855 calls for service in 2024. The highest category for calls are what we classify as operational calls for service. There were 393. Operational calls, for examples, are things like missing person investigations, sudden deaths, lost found property, and domestic disturbances. Statutes and acts, which is another billable category, accounted for 87 calls for service. And statutes and acts include things like mental health calls, property disputes, and Landlord-Tenant Act calls. Property crime violations came in number 3 at 72, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that more in detail. Operational 2 calls, these are things like false alarms, 911 calls. That was your 4th highest category, 64. Then we look at other criminal code violations. We'll speak more in depth about that at 37. Violent crime, 37. Traffic, 32. Drug possession, 6. And drugs were 2. So overall, again, 730. Billable calls also include both actual occurrences and unfounded occurrences. We'll take a look at that. So I just wanted to give an account too for patrol hours within Atikokan. So cruiser patrol hours in 2025 accounted for 3,239.75. We also conducted 87.75 hours of foot patrol and 86.5 hours of school patrol. So overall 3,414. And again, our hours of patrol were up significantly from 2,682.5 the previous year. So we're happy to report on that.
Excuse me, Derek, I'll just have the first question. How did we get 800 more hours? Do you have more manpower, less hours? More available to do that work, or how did we go up 800?
Yeah, so we did start to see some increase in our frontline availability, which is important. So when you have increases with officers, you're able to do more proactive patrols. Keep in mind, patrol hours are not billable hours to the municipality. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. We also had some different types of focus patrols. So I know that through feedback with our officers in the municipality, we wanted to make sure at the arena that we were visible there. There was some reports that were coming in as far as loitering, vandalism, that sort of thing. So we wanted to engage in that, be proactive there to hopefully reduce some of those property crimes. So We're also happy with the school patrol hours. It's important for us to be very visible in the schools in Atikokan. It gives us an opportunity to interact with the students and develop a really good rapport, and we just see so many positive benefits from that. So those are some of the areas there. With regards to violent crime, when we're looking at it, there's nothing to report for homicides, other offenses causing death, or attempted murder. Sexual offenses, we were at 5 for last year. Of the 5 incidents, 2 investigations were cleared with charges being laid. In 2 incidents, the victims declined to lay charges, and in 1 incident, remains under investigation. For assaults or firearm-related offenses, we were at 22 compared to 31 in 2024, so that was a significant reduction there, about 29%. When we looked at those occurrences of the 22, 10 would be classified as intimate partner violence occurrences. 16 of the incidents were cleared by charge, with 9 males and 6 females being charged. And in 4 of the incidents, alcohol or drugs were a factor. Robbery, there was 1 robbery to report on there. Police responded to a report of a break and enter in progress. A male, age 43, was arrested and charged with several offenses, including robbery, uttering threats, and break and enter. Other offenses involving violent or threat of violence, so this is what we classify as utter threats investigations or criminal harassment. You were at 7. Again, that was a 50% reduction in that category there, down from 14. When we looked at the specific of those types of calls, 6 of the incidents will be classified as threats investigations, and 1 case of criminal harassment. 3 of the incidents took place over social media, and that seems to be a continued theme that we're going to talk about, is social media, how it factors into a lot of the policing calls that we're attending. The next category that we want to look at is the property crime. So for property crime, nothing to report. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was reading. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. I just had a question before you move on too far. So when you're doing all these patrols, do you stop in at the local businesses and other agencies within the community as well, or you haven't gotten that far in doing that yet?
Yeah, no, so that's an important piece as well. We try and stop in, interact as much as we can with the businesses, the residents as well. So that's an important piece to frontline policing.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so break and enter. When we look at that specifically, so that was up 9 from 3 the previous year. What we saw there, 2 of the incidents resulted in charges being laid. 2 of the break and enters actually involved vacant buildings. And I know through discussion with the detachment boards, we've discussed that in the past as well and looked at strategies for trying to reduce some of those calls. Theft over $5,000. So these occurrences involve the theft of vehicles. Both cases, the motor vehicles were recovered. In 1 instance, the subject was arrested and charged, and the other case, the victim declined to lay charges there. Theft under $5,000, there was 10 occurrences. That was down from 14. So the theft under, when we look at that, 2 of the occurrences involved the theft from unlocked vehicles, and 1 occurrence was a stolen bicycle. 4 of the investigations were cleared with charges being laid, and that's an opportunity as well. Just tonight, we do have campaigns such as Lock It or Lose It, so we're really encouraging the public to target hard either their residents or their properties, vehicles as well. It's the likelihood that if something is left open, it's probably more vulnerable to being broken into. Possession of stolen goods, there was one occurrence there that related to the possession of a stolen bicycle. Fraud, 24, and that was the same reported number of cases in 2024. Fraud still is an area of concern for us, and it's throughout the district as well. Of the 24 reported incidents, 8 would be classified as crypto or cybercrime. 4 involved fraudulent transaction, and this was either sites like Facebook or Kijiji. 10 were phone calls. In 8 cases, there was a financial loss. I know March is Fraud Prevention Month. I know our cadet, Josh Cousino, was here in March delivering messaging presentations at Community Living in Aspen Court. But it's really important for us with fraud. It's too late when victims are calling us. It's the prevention, it's the education piece that really we want to put out. We try and do that on media, social media, just encouraging people when they're receiving these calls or they're on social media, something is too good to be true, and just pause, take the time. If they're unsure, give us a call. So, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, just a quick question regarding the Fraud Prevention Month. Community Living in Aspen Court are great, but are there any other plans for expanding that to the broader community, especially in light of a lot of the AI and, you know, misinformation that's out there, because it's getting very, very scary and very difficult to detect what is real and what isn't.
Oh, I agree with you, and we'll make the commitment 100%. If we're able to maybe partner with another organization or group where they're willing to host us, and we'll do it whatever works during daytime, or if an evening session is maybe better for the audience. Please give us a call. We can connect afterwards too, and we'll come down and we'll deliver that presentation. So, yeah. Last category in property crime to talk about is mischief. There was 18 calls for service there. 5 of the incidents involved damage to parked vehicles. 9 incidents were damage to buildings for that. The next category to discuss, drug crime. For possession charges, there were 4 in 2025, and that was the same number in 2024. And we had 1 drug trafficking investigation. This was a proactive call for service, and that was a vehicle stop that resulted in a small amount of suspected cocaine being seized. A male age 41 was charged with failing to comply with probation, and a female age 35 was charged with possession for the purpose of trafficking a Schedule I substance. So 5 calls total, and there was 5 calls total in 2024. The next group to report on, it's called Other Crime Occurrences, and it's just a title, Other. So what does Other mean? Other basically refers to calls for service that involve bail violations taking place. With our bail violations, this is a continued focus for us, and it's an area that we continue to see, unfortunately, increase in calls. I know over a 4-year period from 2022 to 2025, Atikokan had 145 reported bail occurrences. In those 145, there was 41 unique individuals that were charged. 27 individuals, or 66%, had more than 1 reported bail violation occurrence. 10 individuals were involved in 5 or more bail occurrences. Analysis of the individuals with more than 5 bail violation charges indicates they also received other charges throughout the 4-year period. Bail violation charges were noted for several individuals involved in the bail violation occurrences. 25 individuals had multiple bail violation charges. So that's a continued increase. I am going to predict that in 2026, when we're back again next year, that we're probably going to report another increase. So the bail violations is a complex issue. It's just not a policing issue. There's areas that when we look at some of the social disorder, alcohol, drugs, mental health, lack of housing, these all kind of contribute to some of those things. Do you have any more you want to?
Yeah, so at a local level, some of the things we're working on pretty heavily this year is we now have a full-time officer, actually, he's out of Atikokan here, who's responsible for the whole district for bail compliance warrant. It's offender management is the title, but so we have an officer that's full-time duties is making sure that all of our offenders are properly entered into all systems. We've got a robust schedule for what platoon is going to do compliance checks on each offender, as well as for anyone with a warrant that's directly assigned to someone quickly to get that person back into custody. The next layer to that we'll go into some more detail after Steph Sergeant McLean will report on, but is our mobile crisis response team. So again, we've got an officer and 2 full-time members, and they're working on hiring a 3rd crisis worker that rove around the whole district, including Atikokan, so that some of those offenders, that we can get them linked up with the services they need to get them out of the lifestyle or the illness or whatever it is that's addiction that's leading to some of these offenses. And then obviously another facet of that we're stepping up is enforcement of obviously CDSA drug offenses and trafficking. We've got a very robust street crime unit working with some regional partners too. And then as well as some of that street level enforcement of these public disorder type offenses, not so much with the goal of there being a real punitive outcome, but more as another mechanism to get someone who needs help and another avenue to put them before some of these resources that can hopefully get them out of whatever is leading to some of these offenses. So it is an ongoing issue, and it's not the police alone, but we've got a pretty robust multi-pronged approach to it this year that unfortunately off the bat is going to likely lead in an increase in charges and warrants. But long term, as we've seen with the mobile crisis response team, we're hoping that the end trend will be a downward trend.
Just an overview of some of the charges that are being laid in Atikokan. So criminal code non-traffic, and when I just talked about the crime categories for violent crime, assaults, break and enters, that sort of thing, that's how they're attributed. So there was 106 charges that were laid last year. Criminal code traffic, these would be things like your impaired type driving occurrences, and driving while prohibited. There was 21 charges. Highway Traffic Act charges, speeding, not wearing seatbelts, distracted driving, those types of offenses. We're at 76. Liquor License Act charges were 13, and other categories 32. So 248, so that was up by 17.5%. From 2024. Clearance rates for the violent crime category was 74.3%, and property crime was 28.1%. Both those clearance rates are above the provincial average, so we're happy to report that. We include a section on e-ticket warnings. An e-ticket warning, in a lot of cases where there's say a moving violation that takes place, maybe it's for speeding. Often there's other violations, maybe not having proper paperwork as far as licensing goes, that sort of thing. So we just report, maybe we'll lay a charge, and then we'll give the operator a warning on the other violation that's taking place. As far as motor vehicle collisions within Atikokan, there was 16, and that was down from 23 in 2024. so about a 30.4% reduction there. In 2025, there was nothing to report for fatalities in the Atikokan area. Unfounded calls. So unfounded calls, as I mentioned earlier, they're also part of the billable component. An unfounded call, for an example, might be we report to a call for service, break and enter to a residence. Officers arrive at the scene, they find a door open, speaking to the property owner. It's determined that they didn't lock the door. Maybe it's a windy evening and the door just becomes open, so it becomes an unfounded occurrence. That's what we mean by those. So 21 overall. Mental Health Act occurrences for 2025, we're at 66. This is a really positive news story, as the inspector mentioned. In 2023, there was 143 calls for Mental Health Act occurrences. 2024, there was 89, and then down to 66. So as the inspector mentioned, we established the Mobile Crisis Response Team in 2020. We knew that it was going to take a few years for the response team to become basically embedded, and a lot of times what that involves, they go to the live calls and then they connect people afterwards with other support services to offer them help that they need. The other benefit to the Mobile Crisis Response Team is the clinicians, when we go to calls, they're able to actually speak to the person in crisis, and sometimes it's determined that they can actually divert them away from the hospital, so we don't have to apprehend and take people to the hospital, and that's a real benefit, not only for your calls for service, but on the healthcare system as well. So it has that added value. So we're really happy about the program we offer in the area and the success of that team. As far as overdose occurrences go, and this is just OPP tracked data, we didn't respond to any calls in 2025 where there was a suspected overdose. And the last piece to report on is referrals to